Atmospheric horror story based on The Faceless Woman, Naparabo, a modern urban tale blending quiet dread with eerie folklore. The Woman on the Overpass, a Japanese urban legend-inspired short story. It was just past midnight when Kaori missed her last train. The streets of Shinagawa were quieter than usual. Light rain had started to fall, making the city glow in a blur of neon reflections and trembling puddles. Kaori pulled her coat tighter, muttering about deadlines and her useless umbrella, which had flipped inside out 20 minutes ago. She took the pedestrian overpass that crossed above the train tracks, an older one, rust-stained and mostly forgotten now that the new station walkway had opened. But Kaori liked its solitude, usually. Halfway across, she noticed someone standing at the far end of the bridge. A woman. Alone. Still. Kaori paused. The figure wasn't moving, just standing there under the flickering orange street lamp. Her long black hair clung to her pale face from the rain, and she wore an old-fashioned white coat, buttoned up to the neck. Maybe she's waiting for someone, Kaori thought, or just enjoying the rain. Kaori kept walking. As she drew closer, she gave the woman a polite bow, more reflex than thought. Evening, Kaori offered with a smile, trying to break the tension. The woman didn't respond. She turned slightly toward her, hands folded in front of her. Kaori tried again. "Do you need help?" Still, no reply. Just as she was about to pass, the woman finally spoke. Her voice was distant, like hearing someone through glass. "Do you think I'm pretty?" Kaori froze. Something about the voice made her stomach knot. Yeah," she said carefully. "You look fine." The woman tilted her head. "Even like this?" Her pale hand reached up, slowly, deliberately, and began to wipe at her face. At first, Kaori thought it was makeup, maybe smeared eyeliner, but then the skin came away like water. No blood, no wound, just smooth, featureless flesh beneath. Her eyes vanished, her nose disappeared, her mouth stretched, melted, and was gone. A blank canvas of skin stared back at her. Kaori stumbled back, a scream caught in her throat. The woman stepped forward, her head tilting in that same unnatural rhythm. "Do you think I'm pretty? Now?" Kaori bolted. She flew down the stairs of the overpass, slipping on the wet metal steps, nearly twisting her ankle. She didn't look back. She didn't want to know if the faceless woman was following her. She ran all the way to a late-night cafe, breathless and shaking. The waitress didn't ask questions, just poured her a hot coffee and left her alone. Kaori stayed there until dawn. Weeks passed. Kaori tried to convince herself it was a hallucination. Stress, too many hours editing reports, lack of sleep. But the memory wouldn't fade, and then strange things began happening. Mirrors in her apartment fogged without steam. Sometimes her reflection lagged behind her movements. At night, she'd wake to the sensation of someone standing by her bed. And once, while looking out her window, she saw a woman standing on the pedestrian bridge again. Not moving, just watching her apartment, 6 stories up. She moved cities a month later. New job, new apartment, new train line. She never used overpasses again. But sometimes late at night, Kaori catches sight of a pale figure in the distance, usually near a train station or a dark alley. Always still, always watching. And once, on a cold December morning, someone tapped her shoulder on a crowded platform. She turned. It was a woman in a white coat, long black hair, her face hidden behind a high medical mask. And from behind the mask came the same soft, haunting voice. "Do you think I'm pretty?" And The Reflection Room. Part 2 of Kaori's story. Kaori didn't answer the question. She just backed away from the woman with the mask, shoved through the rush-hour crowd, and fled the platform. Her heart thundered in her chest as she ran up the station stairs and didn't stop until she was out on the street, gasping for breath beneath the gray morning sky. It wasn't the question itself that terrified her. It was the voice, the exact same one she'd heard on the overpass weeks ago. Muffled but unmistakable, cold, flat, hollow. She stopped taking the train after that. Kaori worked remotely whenever possible. When she had to go out, she stayed in well-lit areas, avoided walking alone, and never looked strangers in the face. She even covered mirrors in her apartment with old sheets and towels, telling herself it was superstition, but deep down, she just didn't want to risk seeing something that didn't match her. Then came the envelope. No name, no return address, just a single sheet of paper inside. You can't cover what's already inside you. Scrawled in neat handwriting, familiar yet wrong. Kaori dropped it, her hands shaking. That night, she dreamed of mirrors, endless mirrors, each one showing herself, but subtly wrong. In some, she had no mouth, in others, no eyes, and in one she saw herself without a face, just smooth skin staring back at her, and she smiled. Desperate for answers, Kaori reached out to her grandmother in Kyoto, a quiet woman who had once told stories of spirits and things with stolen faces when Kaori was a child. Her grandmother didn't laugh when Kaori explained what had happened. She listened. Then, after a long silence, she said, "The Noperabo does not always steal faces. Sometimes, it shows you the one you're trying to hide." Her grandmother sent her an old address, a temple tucked in the mountains near Kafune, where monks kept ancient records and conducted spiritual rites for the disturbed. Kaori went the next day. The temple was mist-shrouded and quiet. An old monk met her at the gate, and when she told him her name, he frowned. "You've seen her, but that means she's seen you too." He led her down into the cellar beneath the temple, where a narrow corridor ended in a room lined with mirrors. Kaori hesitated. "What is this?" she whispered. "The reflection room. If she's marked you, this place will show the truth. But be warned, once you look, you can't unsee it." She stepped inside. At first, the mirrors showed only her reflection. Pale, exhausted, hair damp with mountain mist. But then, one by one, the other mirrors began to change. Each reflection was not quite her. In one, her mouth was gone. In another, her eyes melted into flesh. And then, in the final mirror, she saw the woman in the white coat standing behind her. So close. Breathing. Kaori turned. There was no one there. When she looked back, the mirror had changed again. Now it showed her own face, but this time she was the faceless one. She screamed, but the monk was already closing the door behind her. "You must stay until dawn," he said. "If she replaces you, you won't know until it's too late." Kaori stayed in the room through the night. And in the dark, the mirrors whispered. They told her things she'd buried, her guilt over her sister's death, the face she'd forgotten when they were kids, the lies she told herself in the bathroom mirror every morning. They told her the Noperabo didn't come for just anyone. She came for those who wore masks too long. When dawn came, the monk returned. Kaori walked out of the temple, pale but whole. For now. But when she passed by a shop window back in the city, her reflection didn't wave when she did. It only watched her walk away. And smiled. To be continued.